What's going on, guys? This is Miasin. So even though this is just one single Duelist Cup from Singapore, it is post-ban list and it is extremely interesting and insightful because we really get to see the true power of tier elements and some other decks in this, I guess, small little OCG breakdown, but still has 156 participants. So before this video starts, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate you, and now let's get right into it. Alright, so again, it was an OCG tournament in Singapore, a very civilized and sophisticated country. 6 rounds of Swiss and then top 16 the playoffs. So there is the pizza, the pie chart, and it really speaks volume on which deck really is the superior one between Tier Laments and Splight. So what this means is that 32 participants out of 156 decided to play Tier Laments, and 8 of them survived all the way until top 16. Yes, this is absurd, because 50% of the top cut was actually by Tier Laments players. So very, very high representation here. I believe 25% if my maths are not too garbage. 8 is a quarter of 32. And then Splight, even though the exact same number of players decided to play Splight as, you know, the Tier Laments players, only 2 of them were able to make it to top 16. It's nothing compared to Tier Laments. So this is a quarter of a quarter, which is 1 out of 16. Not the best, that is for sure. So if you're playing Splight and Toad is banned, you're not really putting all your chances in your favor. So yeah, Tier Laments is ridiculously unfair, and the Ishizu engine is absurd. I will be covering that engine very soon, don't worry. Now, one thing that did disappoint me a bit because I love this deck, Exorcister, shockingly enough, having the worst conversion rate out of everyone. So out of 14, only 1 of them survived, and 14 is technically a decent sample size. So unfortunately, this kind of means that Exorcister is that kind of deck where people really enjoy playing it, but it might not be as good as some other decks like Tier Laments and some other decks. Well, some other decks. Whatever, you get the point. So yeah, Exorcister. Still, there was 1 player who made it to top 16, but it's not a good representation. 1 out of 14. Almost as bad as Splight, actually. But yeah, Exorcister is actually better than Splight in theory if we're using this way of seeing things. Flunderies, technically, theoretically, it is the deck that had the best conversion rate, but the sample size is much lower. So out of 8 Flunderies players in 156 players, 3 of them made it to the top 16, which is definitely something. It is something to take into consideration because this deck is going nowhere at all. It's as long as D-Shifter is a semi-turn skipper card, as long as Robina is a 1-card FTK, Flunderies will always annoy the hell out of people, and if you stop preparing for Flunderies and if you start only preparing yourself for Tier Laments and Splight, you will lose to this deck. And this is the reason why Flunderies randomly steals wins from people. It's because people can't really afford to respect the deck when the other decks are just so oppressive. Eldritch, 5 of them were played, 0 topped, very sad, very unfortunate for Eldritch players. Sword Soul, same thing, not the best. Evil Twin, yeah, okay, so technically there were actually 35 Splight decks. 3 of them were Evil Twin. Yeah, 0 of them topped. That kind of sucks. And then, of course, Hero, none of them top, even though the deck is actually pretty good. I don't know what meta beat is supposed to mean. Yeah, really have no idea, because this is the OCG. It might be like Fairy Tail Luna with like the Kaijus and Grand Maju and stuff like that. And then Sky Strikers, but none of them topped. And others, 1 others actually topped. It's actually funny when the most popular deck, quote-unquote, is others, and only 1 other deck tops. And then freaking Tier Laments is actually... Oh my god, this is ridiculous, man. So freaking scary, this deck. Alright, now for the top 16 decks, we have Lawn Mowing Ishizu Tier Laments. This deck is really weird, though. You're really going to be shocked when you're gonna see this. Another one is Ishizu Tier Laments. Ishizu Tier Laments. No shit. Exorcister getting 4th place. Definitely very freaking cool. So this player definitely knows what he's doing because he was the only Exorcister to survive, and he made it all the way to 4th place. Definitely something to really respect. Anyways, issues with Tier Laments, Splight, Flunderies, Splight, Trabrigate, so this was the other deck. Even though, again, this should have been in the Splight category. Splight, issues with Tier Laments, Flunderies, Ishizu Tier Laments, Flunderies again, Sky Striker. No, never mind. Sky Striker, 1 of them topped out of 4. Okay, yeah, I messed up. Ishizu Tier Laments and Ishizu Tier Laments. So Ishizu Tier Laments is something that you're going to be seeing a lot in the next couple of months. It's going to be literally the only playable version of Tier Laments, and it really is unfair and rage quit inducing. Alright, so for the number 1 deck, we have a 50-card lawn mowing deck. Not the kind of thing you see every day because that grass looks greener, lawn mowing next door. is typically played when you have 60 cards in your deck. But for some freaking reason, this guy was like, you know what, milling 10 cards is enough, I'm good with it. But yeah, the card is semi-limited, left arm offering has always been garbage, we were never playing that card to begin with. And then everything else is very logical except the Lava Golem, very sus. And yeah, no, I like this deck list, it's pretty clean. People are really on the fence whether they want to play Meta Noise or Salic, or sometimes even Crime, which is the counter trap. Now, the Continuous Trap card, Salic, actually has a superior graveyard effect. When it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you get to search a Tier Laments monster from your deck to your hand, whereas Meta Noise, the Book of Moon, that foolishes from the deck to the grave, unfortunately, when it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you only get to recycle back a Tier Laments monster from your graveyard to your hand, so it is way less good to mill than the Salic. So again, I really understand that. And the Eldra Entity Entis, again, being utilizable because of the Diviner of the Heralds, then you can revive back on your opponent's turn with the Slight Elf. In order to trigger its effect, use it as a way to interrupt your opponent by popping a card your opponent controls. But yeah, again, this deck, even though it's a fusion-based strategy, doesn't lose to D-Barrier whatsoever because you have 5 summonable fusion monsters out of 15 cards in your extra deck. So a third of your extra deck loses to D-Barrier, which is absolutely less than nothing because this deck can easily make rank 4s thanks to the Ishizu cards. And as you can clearly see, these rank 4s are terrifying. Dweller, Redoer, Excite on Knight, Baguska, and of course Zeus. If you D-Barrier for fusions, don't go thinking that you're safe. You're absolutely not safe. D-Barrier will no longer be playable once we get the Shizu cards. Maybe before, because people are probably going to be playing the branded Despia Tier Elements. But after Ishizu, things are going to change drastically. Anyways, the Link monsters, whatever, for the extra side deck, sorry. Zuking Alpha, Artifact Sanctum with side, this is definitely something I want to make a full video on. And then Regeki, because the Splight decks, they don't really make Toad anymore. So they have no Omni Negates and their boards actually really lose to Regeki. And then whatever, Lightning Storm to into a Stir Red Reboot. This is very similar, but this time featuring Fairy Tail Snow because this deck didn't play Fairy Tail Snow for some reason, even though he's playing Lawn Mowing. But whatever, the rest of the deck list is usually the exact same. All the ratios, I want to say, are identical for everyone, except that some people are on 3 Meru, some people are on 2 Merus, 2 Reino Heart, or 3 Reino Heart. It really depends. And then for some reason, again, 1 Diviner of the Heralds only. Very interesting, but whatever. And then, yeah, alright. Always the same thing. Zuking Alpha in the side deck with Lava Golem as well. This one was actually main decking 1 Lava Golem, which honestly, I don't really know if I understand the theory behind only playing 1. But I guess you really need some kind of kaiju-esque cards in order to deal with your opponent's board. And this one was like, you know what, screw Lava Golem, I'm playing Sphere Mode instead. But yeah, Zuking Alpha, notice how it's literally in everyone's side deck with Solemn Judgment when they want to go first. Regeki again. This is not the kind of thing that we've seen in years, man. Regeki finally being good. Didikuro is also the kind of card that we are seeing a lot now. The Exorcister deck list is very unorthodox. It's on 2 Shifters, 1 Ghost Reaper with 2 targets, but no Gigantic Splight, and obviously Toad is banned. So the Codebreaker Virus Swordsman is a Reaper target because you don't want your opponent to be able to link into this card and use Deck Devastation Virus, because if you can do that, you lose the game. Although I don't think Reapering this card makes any sense. You'd rather just not do it and hope that your opponent doesn't have Deck Devastation Virus in his side deck, because yes, if you get hit by Deck Dev when you play Exorcister, you most likely lose the game. I'm deadass not joking. So yeah, very unfortunately, you lose every single one of your hand traps, and you lose every single one of your monsters except, I think, for Malfa. But yeah, this time, the player actually main decked 2 Regeki, which is something that the other decks didn't do. They were side decking 2 Regeki or 3 Regekis sometimes, but not all the time. And side decking the 3rd Regeki with the 3rd Shifter, the 2nd Reaper, a little whack. We don't see that in the TCG. If you do that in the TCG, you're getting bullied by all of your friends. Better believe that. Basically the same thing. Sphere Mode, again, very popular, goddamn. And Reaper gaining a lot in popularity, man. I'm gonna make, again, another video on Ghost Reaper, but this is the important thing, the Crime in the side deck. So this is a counter trap that allows you to negate basically anything, and then I think you have to foolish send a Tier Laments card from the hand to the grave, or a monster, I forgot. But either way, you have to get rid of a card at the end when you negate with this card. So it's kind of unfortunate if it didn't have that drawback. Everybody would be main decking 1 copy of the card, and the deck would be absolutely unstoppable. Anyways, Tangia Hang with Splight. This is very cute with Dragon Buster, Destruction Sword, and the main deck Evil Twin Kisiki Lila, because he's main decking 2 Artemate Slay. Again, very unique. We don't see that every day. So usually this is in the side deck because you don't know if for sure if your opponent will be summoning Link monsters, and this is kind of like a very bad card to draw. It's like a Tagetumborg in a way because you can still send it from the hand to the grave with the effect of Trouble Sunny in the graveyard. But yeah, that is the real purpose. You go Artemate Slay, send the Trouble Sunny, bounce back a Link monster upon controls to the hand, and then graveyard effect of Trouble Sunny, banish it, send the Evil Twin Kiseki Lila from the hand or deck to the graveyard, and then send any card your opponent controls to the grave without targeting. And of course, Dragon Buster Destruction Sword with Union Carrier is good for obvious reasons, but I cannot believe that the freaking OCG has access to that. It makes no sense. This should have gone banned 10 years ago. Again, you're noticing the same cards. Take notes, guys. Take notes. Zuking Alpha, Appointer of the Red Lotus, Regeki, Lightning Storm, Pankratops, Solemn Judgment. The same cards are always getting side-decked by freaking absolutely everyone. It's ridiculous. This was the only guy who side-decked D-Barrier and evenly matched. Everyone else was on literally the exact same. You know what? Someone else would evenly. Flunderies, alright, this deck actually plays with a completely different set of rules. Main deck Dark Rulers, so kind of relatively TCG style oriented, but still playing 9 hand traps, so not really. Book of Moon, obviously, understandable, and then a lot of consistency cards. However, this is where the OCG and TCG players completely disagree. So the OCG players are typically on 2 Ryza with 1 Empen, whereas in the TCG, it's the exact opposite. It's 2 Empen with 1 Ryza, because people want to be able to hard draw the Empen so that if they get interrupted, they can still tribute summon for the Empen on the opponent's turn and get to the Windbearer statue, because they kind of feel like this is a better win condition. And this is kind of like your engine anyways, whereas Ryza kind of isn't. So I do understand the logic behind both. It's actually really funny to see the mysterious map, the Flunderies Field Spell at 2. I think it makes no sense, but whatever. And now for the Splite Trabrigade deck, I am not even going to pretend like I understand anything here, because this will not exist in the TCGs, so don't even try to think about it. Our formats are going to be completely different, so yeah, this is probably going to suck completely. And side deck 3 Anti-Spell, 3 Regeki, 3 Lightning Storm. Holy shit, man! Well, every single card in the side deck is a massive blowout. Wow! Oh, man. But yeah, I want to say the #1 MVP of everyone's side deck was always Zuking Alpha, and for a very good reason. It is actually extremely good against Splite and Trabrigade because it has a lot of attack. It's an inherent summon, so there's kind of no way to negate its summon unless you have like Solemn Judgment, and then it usually trades 1 for 2. So it's very similar to Pankratops, which is also in most people's side deck, in case you're taking notes. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about the OCG meta in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.